Jeffrey, not a night has fallen, not a star, where I was not reminded of how warm you are in sleep and dear, without a trace of meadow or of sheep near. Sleep, dear. That's sort of the way the piece ends. And the text I wrote in like 1997, and the poem Sleep I had written for him as a gift. As a matter of fact, I'll tell you a very strange moment. Do you know the playwright Craig Lucas? He wrote Prelude to a Kiss, and he wrote, last year there was a, he wrote the book To Light in the Piazza. He wrote The Dying Gaul, which was made into a movie last year. Anyway, he had lost his lover, Timothy. And I was doing a concert New Year's Eve in New York with the soprano Angelina Rayo. And we were going to surprise Jeffrey by doing that song. Jeffrey was sitting behind Craig Lucas, and they had never met. But from all accounts, Craig became hysterical during that song. And Jeffrey leaned forward and held him to comfort him as the song was being sung to Jeffrey. There's something so beautiful about that to me. And that's the night I met Tony Kushner was there, and Craig, and it was a very big night for me. But so the point is, when I was writing Green Sneakers finally, which those poems were written 10 years before I set any of them to music, it suddenly occurred to me, oh my God, Sleep is the epilogue to that piece. And by the way, at Songfest, that is the first I heard the song. It's the first time I heard a baritone sing the song, Kyle Farrell, and he did it in my masterclass. I heard this song and I thought, this goes somewhere. And it ended up being the last song in Green Sneakers. And I'll tell you another thing. Jay Keggy, my dear, dear friend, I had to read him the text one day. I called him in San Francisco and I was like, do I dare set this to music? It's so intimate. Is it obscene? Is it asking too much of an audience to... Well, I read the text to him, and he was really supportive. And then he's the one, I said, I have to figure out a way to bring the piano in at the end, in the last song. Jake said, have the singer play it. I knew it was right the second he said it. And like immediately I integrated that into the piece. So I could not give him credit for it and just pretend that I'm so brilliant and creative. But I think that's the way it works, you know. Luckily we all have friends and other artists that we work with who make brilliant suggestions, and I don't know, like I am very excited about the piece simply because it feels like, not that it's a new direction for me, but it's very deep for me to have something like Grapes of Wrath in the world getting the kind of attention it's getting when, and that, with that text by Michael Corey that's so exquisite, but to feel also that there are these pieces smaller, but they're my text, that I'm also having the good fortune of telling my own story in the world, in my own words. It feels very profound to me. It is, for me, it has the potential for being a very profound journey for a baritone to take. I don't know if I know that song cycle in the world. A song cycle where a man is singing about his love for another man who is dying. And it's bald, and it's unfettered, and it's plain spoken, and it's the truth. And people think, you know, oh God, AIDS, it's over, let's be positive. It is. Well, it's not. It's not over. And we have to tell our stories. And I still have to tell mine. And sometimes I think, because I'm in a relationship with someone new now, who I love, and I want to be at a place where I've written about that, and I'm not writing about that anymore. And in a way, I have to be honest and say, I think I am. I wrote Green Sneakers Orpheus and Eurydice, My Musical Dream True, my song cycle Late Afternoon, and I have one more piece, which is a musical I'm writing for the Signature Theater. I won an award, the Shen Family Foundation Award. The piece I'm doing for the Signature is a piece I've entirely written to the text to. It's about my family, but it's a piece where it's about my family in my mind, and my mind becomes a room where these people who have been trying to get out for years are finally let out, and they each sort of come to a seminal moment in their life that they have a need for the other members of the family to hear. They have a need to be heard, and the thing I need them to hear is the last night of my lover's life. So it feels like a body of work that's coming to an end, and then I think I'll be able to move on. I don't know if you have closure, you include it. You know what I mean? There's a beautiful metaphor in Mark Doty's book, Heaven's Coast, where he talks about, I think it's a true story, where there was an archaeological dig, and they unearthed a really old pot, and it was a coup to unearth a pot this old, but as they were unearthing it, it broke. Because of the value of the find, instead of gluing it together, they put it together with melted gold, so that its cracks glistened and shimmered. And the metaphor, obviously, is that when we grieve and we lose, we are never completely uncracked, but our cracks glisten and shimmer.
Selfishness, my pettiness,